Hello and welcome back to the Opening 45, the podcast equivalent to that drunken debate down the pub with your mates while watching the football. My name is Oliver Graystone, and with me today, as always, is my co-host, Will Matthews.
You all right, guys? I'm really looking forward to this one.
Nice one. Joining us today is manager of Hullbridge Sports Football Club. It's Darren Manning.
How are we doing, chaps? You all good?
We're all good. And the other guest today is Darren's right-hand man. It's James Wakeling.
Yo, you alright? How you doing, guys?
Yeah, good. Cheers, mate.
Good.
So, as I said, the idea of the show, we're just going to be talking while watching the football, like you would down the pub, and we're all going to be following one game each. So, Darren, who are you following today? What game?
Well, I was going to do Concord versus Dorking, as it's like local to us at Hullbridge, and I know a few people at Concord, but their game's been delayed for half hour, so I've just switched allegiances to Billericay because we train there and stuff like that, and another local to keep it non-league theme with where we're non-league. So yeah, I'm going to do Billericay there away to Maidstone. So it should be an interesting game.
Oh, nice. Kept it non-league as well. James, What about yourself? Obviously, Southend. No game today.
Yeah, I was going to do Southend, but obviously no game today because of the COVID, apparently. So I've gone with Wycombe Brentford, obviously after beating Wycombe in the playoffs, in 2015. I never would have thought we would be where we are and now where they are, so I'll be keeping an eye on them today.
Yeah, potentially 3 divisions below them next season. Or 2 again, I reckon they go down as well. And and Will, Norwich?
No, I'm not. Well, I've got the Brighton Villa game on. I think Ross Barkley's already gone off injured, so that was quite early on. So...
How's your dream team looking, James?
I've got a 3 clean sheet from the Chelsea game. That's all right. That's what I need. It's good.
Oh, fair enough. Well, if you're not doing Norwich, then I'll be following that game with Middlesbrough.
Yeah.
I'll be rooting for the Borough.
Well, as you can see behind me, got the canary up.
Hey, there's already been a goal in my game.
Is it?
Has it?
Yeah, Maidstone are 1-0 up.
Oh, nice.
That's all I know. I don't know who scored or anything else. Maidstone 1-0. It was Billericay's Twitter, so clearly they're not too happy because they've just said goal 1-0 Maidstone.
Thank you, Cammy.
That's all right, mate. No worries.
So, yeah, obviously, not a lot happened this week, actually, in the news. Been the build up to this show. We had a lot more to go on in last week's episode, but it was just me and Will sort of trying out the format, basically. And, yeah, there wasn't a lot to go on this week, but I want to start off with just congratulating you two, 3 years at Hullbridge now. And we're saying before the show, a promotion in the only full season you've done.
Yeah, I don't like to be reminded about it, Will, if I'm honest, mate. I don't like to talk about it, but
That's not what you said to me earlier. You said
I'd never bring it up. I'd never ever bring it up. Do we, James?
No, I don't even know what you're talking about, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
no. I mean, the only reason why I knew was because the club tweeted it out, and
Funnily enough, someone on here does the club's Twitter, so.
it was you. But no, we're saying before this that you 3 years, more bands than anything, wasn't it?
Yeah, 3 years and about 10 bands, but
yeah. What was it? No red cards as a player.
No.
And I think we worked out about 6 or 7 red cards as a manager.
Steady, 5 or 6. 5 or 6, yeah. Well, I just get passionate, don't I? They're like my kids on the pitch, and when your kids start getting picked on, you want to stick up for them, don't you? So, but yeah, no, it's not something I'm proud of, put it that way. But yeah, it has been a fair few yellow red cards, and one yellow as well, actually. Don't know how you get a yellow from being on the bench, but I've got a yellow. But no, I do like to be reminded that it's been 3 years, but I've probably got about 60% attendance for over them 3 years. But yeah, no, it's been all right. But we've stopped talking about the suspensions now. We'll talk about the
Yeah, no, we'll talk about the football.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of obviously management, Southgate has been in the news. A lot of people talking about him. In my opinion, I don't see where this is coming from with Southgate out or people calling for a replacement for the major tournament. I don't see it. I think he's doing a decent job with bringing the youngsters through. What do you think? What's your take on this? I mean, you guys obviously in management, you can obviously analyze it a lot better than we can.
I've been pretty vocal on Twitter about it, to be honest, because people saying this Southgate out and stuff like that and get this waistcoat wearing idiot out and stuff like that. They're the same people that were down the pub when we was in the semi-finals of the World Cup singing Southgate's the one.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, just because he's playing a different shape and so on, they start getting on his back. I just think it's a bit... You look at his record, it's brilliant. You look at the record he's got and what he's building and the young players and stuff. Yes, sometimes we're too defensive. And I did crack a bit the other day when he brought on Winks for Henderson. I didn't really get that. But who am I to judge someone who's managing the England football team? And end of the day, he works with them day in, day out. He's the one that's taking the training sessions. He knows who's doing well and fits into what he wants to do. And I just think that the biggest problem with the England football team is the fans and the media. Because we just either give them such high hopes or we just rip them to shreds. So I just think it's time you just let him crack on. And like he said in his interview the other day, the squad he's got now won't hit their peak for about another 5 years. So just let them crack on, let them play, let them develop, and we could have some good times as England fans.
1-0 Brighton. Danny Welbeck's just scored. So...
Danny Welbeck? I didn't know he was still kicking about.
Yeah,
he must have one of the best agents in Premier League football.
Yeah, definitely. Literally, I wasn't even paying attention. I just saw Welbeck. Oh, that's terrible defence. Aston Villa had all 10 men outfield players in their other half, and Welbeck just ran through.
Oh, terrific.
Yeah, sorry, but yeah, that's something happened in my game at long last.
Yeah, no one's fantasy team affected there then.
Yeah, so
mine next week will, because Mings is in it, but yeah.
Just jumping on what you were saying, Darren. Do you think he's had to change his formation since the last World Cup to bring through all these young attacking players?
No, I think he's changed his formation because he doesn't trust our centre-backs. And he doesn't think they're good enough to play international football. So he feels he has to sort of bank up to stop us conceding. Because you've got to think, before the Belgium game, it was some mad stat that we'd conceded like only 2 goals in the calendar year or something ridiculous like that. That we'd only conceded 2 goals. And I just think it's because he doesn't feel the centre-backs are good enough, in my opinion. And you can see that the way he plays 3 centre-backs and then 2 holding midfielders is clear from a management point of view. He doesn't really trust them.
Okay.
Who's your centre-backs then for England, though? Saying on that, because I'm a big fan of Maguire, and I think he does get a lot of... if he wouldn't be getting this amount of stick, in my opinion, if it wasn't for that price tag. I still think if he had gone for 30 million, he'd be playing for England regularly. He'd be playing for Man United, and no one would really comment on it. I think it gave.
For me, if we play 2 centre backs, it'll be Maguire and Gomez.
Yeah,
I wouldn't play Maguire in 2.
Wouldn't you?
Nope.
Who would you have?
Currently, for me, you've got to be looking at maybe Cody or Mings.
You can't play Cody in a 2 though.
Well, this is the problem you've got.
And that's what I'm saying about international football. They only get such short amount of time with them that it must be so hard to adapt people from playing in a 2 to a 3 and a 3 into a 2.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. You say they're professional footballers. They should be able to do it. I get that, but it's not as easy as that. You're used to something day in, day out, the majority of the year, and then to just be thrown into an international situation where you've got to do something different. Like Conor Cody, I don't think he's ever played in a 2. He's either played in midfield or centre for 3 at the back.
Yeah.
So I personally think that would be stitching him up if you put him in a 2 at the back at international level when he's not proven at international level yet. But saying that, I'm probably his biggest fan if you play a 3 at the back.
Yeah, I like Cody. What was the game what was he made his debut against? Who was that? He scored, didn't he?
Was it Ireland? No, Wales. Was it Wales?
Burnett Wells.
Yeah, it might be. I have no idea.
Who have we
One
played?
of them England B teams that's kicking around out there.
Yeah. But no, I like him. He's got a bit of pace about him as well, which is for a big guy, considering we've never been blessed at the back for pace in recent years, have we? That's always been our downfall. It's
crazy. You look at the centre backs we used to have with Sol Campbell, John Terry, Rio Ferdinand, and now what we're clutching at straws with.
Do you know what? For me, if you have them 2 centre halves in this current team, we would, I think, 100%. Win it. you can. I know the argument a bit is, oh yeah, but you look in the yesteryears or when we had, Scholes, Gerrard, Frank Lampard, Terry, Campbell, Rio, Owen Rooney. Why didn't we win anything? But now, if you put them two centre halves in this current team, I think we win it. I really do. I really
What about
do.
the opinion with the defence being scared of their keeper behind them? Because Pickford's not great in the Premier League, but for England, as we were saying last week, Pickford's great, but for Everton, he's so inconsistent. Do you think they're a little bit worried about Pickford behind them? That could be why it's affecting them?
Arguably. For me, I think Henderson's made a bit of a schoolboy error. I think he's been promised first team football at United, and he's obviously at the moment not got it, because if he was playing week in, week out, he would be England's number one, in my opinion. I'd have him in the sticks. But obviously, with him not playing for United, it makes it awkward for Southgate to pick him.
Yeah.
Yeah, the other option is obviously Pope, but he's not built, in my opinion, for the England game, because we play out of the back and we rely on our goalkeeper to be able to distribute a ball. And Pope, he proves it. We've seen him in the Premier League. He puts balls out of play. You see that at League 2, League 1 level. For Premier League, I don't think that's acceptable for any of the goalkeepers in the Premier League, let alone for England's style of play.
Yeah, no, mate, you're right. For me, I think James hit the nail on the head. If Henderson's playing week in, week out, he plays. But at the moment, Southgate's in a bit of a sticky situation. Like Pickford hasn't done anything wrong for England, in my eyes. He hasn't done anything wrong for England. If anything, he's been fantastic. You think of the saves he pulled off in the World Cup to keep us in that game against, was it Colombia?
Yeah.
When he pulled that unbelievable save out late on to get us into penalties, and he's done stuff like that. And I just feel it's, with England, everyone just so overcritical of them. If it was their 100%. Club team playing like England done and they've got the results England have done, they wouldn't moan. It weren't long ago we beat Belgium. Do you know what I mean? Who were the number one ranked team in the world. We beat them at home. But just because we didn't beat them away and we lost to Denmark, all of a sudden everyone's been screaming for him to get sacked. But I'll put it out there that if he was to get sacked, who do these people want?
Well, I've heard people talking about Mourinho, which I think's laughable.
Ridiculous. Someone said to me, Wenger.
That would be, honestly, I know that sounds laughable, but I think if I was to get someone, I'd be looking at someone like Wenger now.
It's ridiculous. It's the same, but this person who said it to me is the same person that was screaming for him to get sacked from Arsenal.
Yeah. But let's have it right. Wenger was one of the main reasons why football in this country changed.
But the main word you said there was.
Well, at the time, it was at the time. But,
but he lost the plot. For me, it'd be ridiculous to go for someone like Wenger.
Who would you get?
I'm happy with Southgate, so...
Yeah, but he's sacked. He's gone. Who are you getting in?
Mike Bassett.
Well, we all know he's got an proven track record.
What a geezer Mike Bassett is.
If he can get Rufus Smalls to score, then it's possible.
He can get Tonka. If he can get Tonka out of retirement.
But that's the question, though, isn't it? If Southgate goes, who do we bring in next?
Do you go for an English manager? Because I don't think there's many at that caliber.
I'm not really fussed about if the manager's English or not. As long as they do their job. You look at Ericsson, Capello, they didn't really do that bad compared to what others have done in the past. So,
see, I think you've got to be so smart when picking an international manager. Like, if someone said to me the other day, would you take Guardiola as England manager? I honestly said no. Because the way he wants to play, he won't be able to implement that having 10 days with them every other month.
No. Yeah.
The simple as that. He won't be able to do it, in my view. Don't get me wrong. He'll probably go and prove me wrong when he takes over Spain when he's finished at City. But in my opinion, he wouldn't be able to do that to the England team with the players that we've got. I honestly don't know when you say who would you have next. I honestly don't know. Do you take a punt on someone? Say Gerrard, for example.
Yeah.
Doing great things at Rangers. Do you take a punt on someone like that? But then again, everyone's going to say the same things that they said about Southgate at the moment, where he's never had any experience at managing at that sort of level.
I like what England did though with Southgate, bringing him through the under-21s and then giving him the main. And he's bringing
Hayley Boothroyd.
Yeah.
Well, this is the thing. I would say like the way England should go is maybe appoint a 21s manager, knowing that when the time comes, you're there next. But you're saying that, but I would not want to see Hayley Boothroyd in a dugout for England.
Be ridiculous.
But what do I know? I'm just, they have their reasons for appointing managers. So
Exactly that. Like, see, I'm happy with Southgate. I think he's good at what he does. I think the way he's brought the young players in, I think it's fantastic how he's done that. And you look now, we look such an exciting prospect going forward. It's just a couple of problem positions that he needs to try and sort.
Listen, I don't think you can judge him on the back of a couple of Nations League games. At the end of the day, for me, an international manager is judged from competition to competition.
100%.
Like everyone's going about Germany losing 6-0 to Spain.
They'll probably go and win the Euros.
Let's be real though. As you're a German player, you're already losing to Spain. I know it's hard, but they've got big games coming up for their different teams. They'll probably just think, you know what, I'm not motivated for this. Whatever. When it gets to the Euros, you watch them. And I think it was Bearoff said it. He said, we don't care about this. We judge him from tournament to tournament. Now, if England flop in the next tournament and say they finish bottom of their group, whatever, then see you later. But at the end of the day, regardless of who we played in the World Cup, when everyone was saying, my nan would have got us out of that group. At the end of the day, he got us to the semi-finals of it. And
very close to the final as well.
Yeah. And look, we were so close, everyone would go, if Kane done this, if Kane done that. But look, there was another 88 minutes in the game where things could have been different. But listen, he gave us one of the best summers growing up.
We've ever had.
So you can't really knock him for that.
More on that, going back to that Belgium game, if Sterling and Rashford are fit, we're not even having this conversation about Southgate.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Simple as that. If Sterling and Rashford are fit, they play either side of Kane, we probably beat Belgium.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
no one's even saying this.
Out as well. I mean, if we had VAR in that game as well, that second goal, that's not in no way is that a free kick. That's where VAR has got its worth, because now in the Premier League, you would go to that, check it out, and realise that it's a free kick the other way.
No, it's true. It's true.
But no, it's I still think it's exciting with England. I get excited now when England play games, even the friendly against Ireland. I was excited to watch that because I'm interested in seeing these youngsters coming through and seeing how they fit into
I like to see the team he picks. Then I'll get excited. Like when he picked Foden and Grealish, I was thinking, I like that. Against I can't remember, Iceland, I think it was. But then as soon as he picked the team with Mount and Grealish either side of Kane, I knew we weren't beating Belgium because we had no threat in behind them. With their back four, where you got Alderweireld and Vertonghen, you're playing into their hands, where they don't want to be run. If you had Sterling and Rashford either side, all of a sudden you're causing them problems. So I think you can tell. I get excited with England when I see the lineup. That's when I decide if I'm excited or not.
Yeah, I mean, I get excited by Phil Foden. I think Phil Foden's a brilliant player, and ever since he emerged on the England scene a couple of years ago, or about a year ago now, I want to see him in the team, and especially when we play teams like Iceland, for an opportunity for him to step up to the plate. Because I think players like Dele Alli, they're out of the equation now, but with players like him on the scene. And we're all talking about Jack Grealish as well recently. He's been all over socials with people really bigging him up. When he was Marmite, a couple of years ago or a year ago.
This is what I said. I said fair play to him, because he had a very tough couple of years not long ago at Villa when he went off the rails a bit. And now he's got himself so focused. And the main thing I was pleased about is against Belgium, he never stopped trying to make something happen. Even though we're 2-0 down with 2 minutes to go, he was still trying to get on the ball, still trying to make something happen. You can tell he cares about playing for England. And that's something that all fans want, isn't it? When you're seeing people play for your country, you want them to do that. But I'm going to throw a question at now. What would your England team be then, Ollie? You're saying you want to see Foden in it?
We said this last week. For me, I like Grealish being in that free roam behind the front three. I still think the front three with Kane, Rashford, Sterling is our best. If we could have Grealish behind them, but then that completely takes Foden out of the equation, because that's the role for him.
Does it? But
I wouldn't put Foden deep.
Would you not have one holder and then have Foden and Grealish in front as 2 8s?
I like to have the two holding with Henderson.
You want 2 holding?
Henderson, probably Mount, I think. That would be. We said this last week. We went.
Declan Rice. That's controversial.
No, not Declan Rice. Don't want him in it.
I thought he played all right.
I think he's so bang average it hurts.
It's yeah. I mean, Ireland want him back. So I don't think.
That's just for Callum Fitz and that, isn't it?
Yeah, he loves him, doesn't he?
Oh, loves him.
But then I was talking to my old man the other day, and I was talking about Declan Rice, and I don't rate him. And I'm watching the game, and I noticed that Eric Dyer's on the pitch.
Yeah, how he's an international footballer still gives me hope.
Yeah, I'll bring my boots now to Wembley every time there's a game, just in case.
How he's playing. Don't get me wrong. I get why Southgate wants to stick with the three at the back, but if Cody's out because of COVID and Gomez has been injured, just go to Mings and Maguire as a 2. Just don't put Eric Dyer in. Or call up one of the youngsters like that, Ben White at Brighton, who's a top centre half. Call him up and give him a go. Just stop playing Eric Dyer. There's no need for it.
No, I don't think he adds anything because he's a liability at the back, and he's not a centre mid.
He's like he reminds me of a fly half at rugby. He just kicks the ball off the pitch every time he gets it.
He looks like one actually as well.
He just kicks for touch every time he gets it. He kicks for touch.
Yeah, the thing is with Mourinho, he plays weird players, doesn't he? Like Winks and Davis get quite a lot of game time. They're not quality players, and they've got players like Lo Celso sitting on the bench most weeks.
But and this is what it goes back to what I'm saying. But you don't know what them players are doing in training day in, day out.
Yeah, true.
Lo Celso might turn up every day and just toss training off like he can't be bothered.
Yeah, true.
And this is what I always say, like, especially when it comes to management and team selection and stuff, you don't know what goes on behind the scenes. And it's similar to our level. People come and say to me and James, oh, why is he not playing? Or I think he should have played today. I said, oh, was you at training Thursday?
Yeah.
And then they say, no. Well, exactly. So shut up.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing. You don't know what goes on behind the scenes. You don't know what the game plan is. You don't know what the tactics are for that day. You don't know how he wants them to play. So that's why I will never, ever question a management decision. I might question substitutes because you can see how the game's going when you're watching it. So you can see what you think personally, but that's just an opinion. Football's all about opinions, and that's what makes it so brilliant, is that not everyone has the same opinions.
Yeah. No, sorry, 100%.
Back talking of Winks, actually, he's one of those where you can't fault his work ethic. And when he's put on an England shirt, he doesn't stand out, but he doesn't cost us games, doesn't cost us situations.
I think he's such a safe player. Everything he
like
does.
Hendo,
No, Hendo.
He's like a Hendo.
I don't think he's a safe player. I think Hendo is the linch point of our midfield. When he's
put any negative vibes on Jordan Henderson's name. That man is a legend.
No, I'm just saying he doesn't light up any game, but he's so consistent.
He does all the stuff that no one else wants to do, and that makes
Jordan
him vital.
Henderson would be my England captain.
I agree, 1,000,000%.
No, I agree with that as well. Do you know who he reminds me of, James? Well, Henderson's a bit like when we had Kevin Mayer. He never stood out as an outstanding player. It wasn't until he left and went we realised, crap, we needed him. Like how much he added to a game, or even just when he missed the game for suspension, you realise that the midfield just fell apart because he does the basic stuff. That is,
that's the thing. That's it. No one ever remembers the player that's made 100% pass completion or kept the ball moving. It's always, do you see that player's skill or do you see that trick? What about all the tackles, the headers, the orders he gives players? No one really looks at that in a game. It's always about the goals and the flair side of being in football. I appreciate them players so much more than I used to. I'd always want to see the step overs and players getting beat, but now I actually enjoy watching the other side of football with like the Hendersons, just keeping the ball moving and making the right decisions more so.
It's decision making. So that bit of skill.
Watch the video on Twitter of him in Liverpool against Atalanta. All you hear is him shouting his orders, and you'd want to play for him. You'd want to play for him. 100%.
It's like that bit of skill Grealish done against Belgium. Like, I don't know, after that, did he pass the ball to anyone? Was there any end product? Yeah, he done a nice little flick and drove. But if he passed it off the pitch, people would still be showing that bit of skill.
Yeah.
Too much.
Same with the phone bit, isn't it?
Yeah, I was critical of that because he then ran into a hole.
That's what I mean. There's no, it looks fantastic. It's flary. It's showing his confidence. He's doing this. Brilliant. But you've still got to have an end product of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No matter what you do on a football pitch, you've got to have an end product.
Yeah. I mean, I know at 4-0, but I know when I saw that, I had flashbacks of when I was playing like junior football. My old man was manager And the fact that he's done that lovely bit of skill and then tries to top it off a back heel to no one, my old man would have gone berserk. He would have gone absolutely mental. Even at 4-0, he would have probably, subbed the guy off. Because that's just the way it's just it's pointless. It was just like, do that, but then keep it simple. He still could have retained the ball.
See, I lost it in pre-season at Callum Fitzer, didn't I, James?
Yeah.
Against Southend. We was playing Southend in pre-season. Callum Fitzer was playing incredible. Like, I've got to give him credit. He was playing incredible. He was the best player on the pitch by a country mile. And he beat 2 or 3 players. And then he was in a really good, we was in a 3v2 situation, but coming down to their area, he's tried a no-look pass and pass it off the pitch. I lost it with him.
He got a little bit carried away, didn't he?
And that's what it comes down to. Yeah, have confidence, have belief in your ability, but always make sure you have an end product, no matter what.
Yeah. And you've got to do that as management as well, don't you? You can't just say you played well for 89 minutes. That 1 minute they didn't play well, you need to point it out because you need consistency for a game of football is minimum 90 minutes. You want them to give 110% for that extra time added on time as well.
Yeah.
I think that's what England's missing as well. Southgate's sometimes quite a bit soft, isn't he? You don't see what happens behind the
Of course,
thing.
that's what I was about to say. You don't know. You don't know. But you can tell by his mannerisms and the way he is. I don't think he's going to be someone walking in at half time and throwing a water bottle at someone's head.
Yeah, like if you've made a mistake, you've got Simeone on the touchline, you're walking in that change room shitting yourself.
Yeah.
With Southgate, obviously you can only see from what you see, but you'll be going, nah, he ain't going to say much. He might just give me a little tickle or something. Do you know what I mean? He doesn't strike fear in my eyes, put it that way.
Even as a player, he didn't really ever lose it, did he?
No, he's quite a calculated guy, isn't he?
Yeah.
Quite calculated. And even the way he speaks is very calculated and planned. And I've got a lot of time for him. I've got a lot of time for Gareth.
Yeah, I mean, the thing I've seen with England is the last few years, when we had the so-called golden generation, they prioritised domestic football. You could tell that the Man United and Liverpool and Arsenal were all at each other all the time, and then they're just thrown together in a camp for an international, and you could tell that they'd never got along, really.
They've openly come out and said it, haven't they?
Yeah, they have.
Yeah, I think wasn't it the Neville, Gary Neville, who came out and said
it was awful. None of them got on. There was all these sitting in the tables. Man United players sit at one table, Liverpool at another table, Arsenal at another, and there's just no chemistry. Where now the England players seem like they enjoy international more than they do club football.
Yeah, which I like to see. Obviously, I'm a low league fan. I don't really care for the Premier League much. When I watch internationals now, and I see them all getting along. You've got the City and United players like hugging each other and having a bit of banter. And I watch the videos on YouTube of them training, and it looks like a team. And you think, even without maybe the superstars or the extra ability there, that is enough to beat some teams, to beat the Spains, to beat the Germanys, because if they're all clashing off the pitch, doesn't matter how good you are. You got a team,
Team ethic and togetherness will get you in a league season an extra 10 points minimum. And we found that the year we won the league. Was we the best team, like player for player against other teams? Probably not. If you used to do the best player in each position in that league, we probably had 7, I'd say, something like that. We didn't have the best player in every position, but togetherness wise, we would know that if we was 1-0 down with 10 minutes to go, we'd still win. We had that belief and that mentality and that togetherness, and that come from the players. Like me and James said about 3-4 weeks in, when we've got a really special group of players here, and every single one of them got on. Say, for example, we went away, you could put any of them rooming together and they would get on, where some teams you have to pick it wisely who rooms with each other and so on, for example. But we're lucky, and that really does hit home as a team. When you've got that sort of mentality, you just know you're going to do well. Yeah. And that's what England seem like they've got now.
Yeah, 100%. I want to move it along, actually, because one thing I wanted to talk to you about was the in the EFL now, the new rules for this season with 5 subs. Now, they've been talking about this for a while. Even almost before COVID, they wanted to sort of change up the substitute situation. And now we've got 5 subs. I mean, it doesn't help Southend out because we only have about 4 anyway. But is this something that you would like to see brought down into the lower leagues on a permanent thing?
7 subs and use 5 is what my ideal would be.
Yeah.
If you name 7, use 5. That's what ideally I'd like, especially at the moment, because there are lots of injuries coming around because of the the layoffs and stuff that we're having. Like, you got to think we're going to be 6 weeks without a competitive game of football when we play again.
Yeah.
And that just after the players have just started getting fit, getting over injuries, and they've had another layoff. And when you're in like the stuff at the moment, it's all road running, which isn't good for them. It's all stuff that's not ideal for what we want them to do. So I think it would be good to have name 7 and play 5. I know some managers will disagree with that because of the way they do their wages and stuff. They don't pay certain players and stuff like that if they're not on the bench. So they'll be thinking, oh, Christ, I can't afford that. But so it's a bit different down at this level. But my ideal world would be name 7 and you can use 5.
So would you keep that for next season? Obviously, at the end of this season, from what I've read, the idea is obviously to scrap it. It's because the season's been disruptive and so condensed. Would you keep that then?
No. If it's going back to a normal season, I'd go back to the 5 and 3.
Yeah. Or
Like,
7 and 3.
I've no issue with that. Or 7 and 3. Like, I'd be happy with that, going back to just the 3 subs. But I think at the moment, to look after the players, I think 5 subs is necessary.
Am I right in saying that from next season, or is it from now, that there's concussion subs? Did I read that right?
Never
Well,
heard
I think they spoke about it, but I don't think anything's concrete yet.
I think the idea was that if a player has concussion, he has to come off the pitch, and therefore the team would be allowed to make a 4th substitution, and to stop it being a legal advantage, the opposition would then be allowed to bring on a 4th sub at the same time if they wanted to.
That's the first
I
I've
think
heard of
that I've heard of it, but I can imagine that getting quite people using that a little bit more to advantage. As you know, just go when you come up for this header in the corner, go down into that 4th sub. Bang, you go down on the head. Come about, if I'm honest. I don't like the sound of that one either.
Yeah, I mean, could they police it in terms of if you've gone down and it's a head injury? You know, do they get checked out? Do they then miss the next game because of it being a concussion?
I think there's too many variables on it.
Yeah.
They're obviously trying to combat it with obviously the links to dementia and things like that.
For me, it's down to the club physios. They're the ones that need to be more proactive on it. Like, for example, with us, Barrett will just tell us, he's coming off. He won't give us a choice. He just
Sometimes you might argue it.
Yeah. Sometimes we're like, come on, it's only 5 minutes left. He'll get on with it. He's like, no, he ain't going back on. Simple as that. And that's what it comes down to. It comes down to physios being a bit more stronger, in my opinion.
Yeah, at the end of the day, physios and doctors are medical professionals. They have to put the patient before the club. It doesn't matter. It's like that Mourinho incident when they had the female physio.
Eva Canero,
it's kind of her job is to make sure the player is healthy. It doesn't matter if the manager don't want you to run on.
Don't get me wrong. Me and Barrett have a few, some heated discussions. I'm like, no, he's fit to play. He's like, he's not. I'm like, well, he's playing. He's like, he's not. Then it, James. We're like, he's playing. And of course, because you want your best players playing as much as possible. And if they're injured, you try and, of course, as a manager, you want them back on the pitch as quick as possible. But no, I think it's just down to letting the physios have the reign to do it. And I think that comes down to the clubs in like to deal with it.
Yeah.
Do you think changing the substitutes is just create more mess and more
time wasting?
Yeah, exactly that.
Well, I suppose you can get, just as James said, someone goes down in the corner, holds their head, physio can come on and in theory lie, and say that he's concussed. It's just, I can see what they're trying to do.
Of course, because of all this stuff coming out at the moment about dementia and stuff, they're trying to do everything, isn't they? I see something the other day about limiting heading in training and stuff like that now, and all that nonsense.
They did that with youth football, haven't they? You can't header the ball in training at youth level, but you can header in a game.
Yeah.
But that, for me, that's more dangerous because the youngsters need to know how to head a ball properly.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
if a youngster doesn't know how to head a ball properly, they'll start heading it with the middle of their head, and it's going to cause them more trouble.
Exactly. Anyone that's played with me knows that that's my only asset is headering the ball. It explains the lack of what do they call it?
Hair.
Yeah. So say brain cells, but it's
no comment.
There's a technique to it. And you see people. I play football at crap Sunday league level. I see people stand underneath a ball, plant their feet, close their eyes, and the ball knocks them out. And you're thinking, at what point? At no point did no one ever teach you how to header a ball. And you're thinking, if this will happen, people just get underneath it, the ball hit them, and it'll cause damage. You know, we've all done it. We catch it wrong, or we plant our feet. You know, it is a skill, and you know, the teams that the youth, sorry, not the teams, but the youth players that learn it are going to be the better players.
100%.
You know, I think it's just to do with the, as you say, the physios, because they're just the same as any injury.
Yep.
Because you get concussed, as long as you get the treatment, it's fine. If you go on and carry on running or just ignore it, that's when you're going to cause damage.
100%. Nothing's going on in my game, by the way.
I was about to say, there's nothing in mine. I really wanted to cheer on a.
We've picked some poor games here, haven't we?
I'll tell you what, this game is actually, I don't know if you guys have been seeing me going like this and stuff, but it's actually been end to end. Villa have missed 2 beautiful chances in this game so far. Literally 6-yard box. I think he either put it wide or over the bar, but it was near enough for no open goal. And Brighton have had a couple of good breaks as well. But
nothing. Absolutely nothing.
No, I've got 0-0 on mine, which is it's great. One other topic I did want to touch on, if we had time, we've got time for it now, is the Wrexham takeover.
Yeah,
So
brilliant.
Wrexham are now could be the biggest team in Wales.
I love it. I love their announcement video where they all they did was talk about the sponsors. I thought it was brilliant.
Yeah, it was like you ever watched Always Sunny in Philadelphia? It was very much like, well, in that it's Rob McElhenney and Charlie Day. They do like their crappy business ideas and they do these adverts, and it's very much the whole explosions and the images coming up, and then you got it reminded me of that with Ryan Reynolds pronouncing Ifa Williams incorrectly. Oh, brilliant.
I thought it was absolute genius. And now they're probably going to be one of the most famous football clubs in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, a bit like Stevenage with the Burger King.
Sponsor,
yeah.
Now level.
As well.
If they get to the Football League, Ultimate Team on FIFA is going to be full of Wrexham kids.
It's crazy. It's completely crazy. But fair play to them because the way they've gone about it seems like they're doing it for the right reasons as well. God knows why they've chose Wrexham.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Do you reckon it was like an actual financial thing for their business, or do you reckon it's just a stunt?
I don't know. They've probably seen that Wrexham. They've probably done a lot of research into. You'd think where Wrexham is. What else is around Wrexham football club wise? So they've probably done loads of investigation into the scope and the demographic around the area and what they think they can do with it and stuff like that. And fair play to them. But I hope they do really well there. I really do. I can't wait to see Deadpool as their new mascot.
But I was having this discussion a little while ago when I'm dreading the fact of Southend playing non-league next year, and we're looking at.
We might be only 2 divisions behind you soon, Ollie.
Yeah.
Aaron.
And then it'd be crazy. But I was looking at it and we're having a discussion that no team is too big to go out the Football League. It happened to Oxford, it happened to Colchester, it happened to, Notts County, Hartlepool. And I was looking at the teams. Luton as well, obviously back. Wrexham, in terms of attendance, they are, before Notts County came down, the one of the biggest clubs in non-league in terms of their following and their fan base. So it does make, it seems like a practical.
Yeah, I'd say they're very smart men. They're not going to just go and buy a random football club in Wales for the sake of it. There'll be some research behind it. They've done loads of work on it. Probably not them individually, but their teams would have done loads of work and found it for them and stuff. They've got loads of companies, haven't they? It's not just them. They've got loads of different things that they do business-wise. So fair play to them. It'll be. I just hope to see that Wrexham get some glory days back. They used to be a decent club, didn't they, in the Football League? So it'd be good for them.
Yeah, I'm sure James remembers the LDV final.
Oh yes.
LDV sounds so long ago.
What's it
Does
called?
Southend ever win that tournament?
No, we've won the Southern. We've won the Southern 3 times, and then got to the National, and then fuck it up.
Standard Southend, isn't it?
It's all been the same. It was Blackpool, the original one, then Wrexham, and then was it Crewe? I feel like it was Crewe.
That's the one we went to, James.
It was Crewe. That's the one you come with me, Darren. Yeah.
Party
at
bus.
Wembley. Because
we had the limo.
The party bus, yeah.
Good times.
Yeah, no,
Good
it's
times.
like the massive hatchback Hammer, isn't it?
Oh, the
Yeah,
big
it was
Hummer
good.
all the way to Wembley.
Very good.
Good times.
I went on the old bus.
It was
That
an
one.
absolute car crash.
Right.
Disgusting.
I'm approaching half time. What are you guys?
I'm still 0-0.
Yeah, 0-0, 42 minutes in. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm 1-0
0-0.
Maidstone, aren't I? Early.
You ain't even got the right game. You're 1-0, ain't you?
Yeah, early goal for Maidstone, 1-0.
Yeah, I'm 0-0 after half time as well. So that's
We have picked the deadest games of football ever.
At least there's football on this week. Last week was kind of just like watching random teams and watching like the scores come in of teams I can't even pronounce. But
Yeah, ridiculous.
but yeah. Oh, ouch. Yeah. It's a bit annoying when there's no good games on at the moment, isn't it?
There's loads of. Looks like all the goals are elsewhere.
Yeah.
it would have been good if Southend were playing. There would have been about 3 or 4 in that first half, I reckon.
I would have been watching it. Yeah, I would have had it on just to wallow in the pain. I had it on last week. I thought you played well last week.
Yeah, rode the luck a bit with the missed penalty, but from what I've read and heard, it's we did our usual, which was dominate the game, but instead of just completely collapsing and then letting them score, we actually were resilient at the back.
And I said it to James. I said it made a huge difference when you had Lennon and White at the back, and then Dieng and Dimitri in midfield.
Oh,
Made a
John
huge
White,
difference. Made a huge difference to have that experience within the team instead of having 19-year-olds. You got some senior pros in there that will just see you through.
Yeah, totally. I mean, we've got, is it Hobson? Never played in the Football League before.
He played right back, yeah.
You know, he's I think he's a good player, but you can't rely on people like that. You can't bring in youngsters.
So
no
he's all
experience.
right. I don't think he's anything better than what you had, though.
No, he's not. But
that's the thing. I don't think he's any better than what you've got.
Yeah, that's sort of half the problem there. We're relying on a lot of experienced players who are arguably not good enough to get in many other teams at that level. You know, McCormack, you know, we love him. He's a bit of a legend. He's just experienced. I don't think he's got the quality. As you said earlier, it's all, what's he like on the training ground? What's he like with these other youngsters? How much are they reflecting off of him? Is probably half the reason why Rob Martin brought him back to the club.
Me, you got to be looking at it. Who's going to want to go to Southend? If you're a professional footballer, you would try any way to go to another club in Southend. There's nothing that makes you want to go there at the moment. You know, you look at their results, their last couple of seasons. It's been, you know, I think we've won I can probably count the amount of games with one of my hands in the last 2 years. You know, and we're not paying our players. There's all this uproar. So you're only going to get the bottom of the barrel. So that's never going to, you know.
Yeah, see, for me, I would have gone for non-league.
This is the one thing that's really, and I'll say it to Darren a lot, it really grates to me is that we took Eastwood from non-league, who was scoring goals for Grays, and look what he did for us. We did the same with Hooper. Okay, we didn't give him a chance, but look what he did there. He went to Hereford, he went to Scunthorpe, obviously went on to Celtic and done some very big things.
Scored at the new camp.
Why have we never ever really done that again? Yeah, we got good shit with his record, but we've never done it since. You know, you look at all them very quality. Look at Peterborough for one, for argument's sake. They literally, that's what they
built
did.
That's their whole model, isn't it? The whole recruitment model.
And they got players in on the cheap, went up the leagues, and sold them for millions. You know, and I just don't understand why we sort of went away from that.
Well, we signed Akinola, didn't we? But then we didn't register him.
No, this is the problem with Southend at the moment.
We've got a loan bid in for him at the moment.
We're getting lied to, you know. They're saying it's
breaking
not
news.
fit. It's not because he's not fit; it's because they can't register him. So
yeah,
why not
same with Hart as well.
What was the point in signing Sam Hart, by the way? What was the point in knowing you can't register him? But yeah, we'll sign you, put you in a contract, and we'll pay you, but we can't register you. What's the point?
Because they didn't want anyone else to have him. It's like,
but who wanted? He was a free agent. Yeah, but he was a free agent. No one else wanted him in November. So if someone ain't snapped you up in August before the start of the season, you know.
But then why aren't they being smart? Why aren't they like loaning Akinola out to a National League club until January when you can register him? But instead he's just sitting there training every day.
So he must be sitting there now thinking, what am I doing here?
Yeah, what have I done? I mean? Get him out, get him playing football, get him ready, get him out to scoring goals. So when he comes back, he can hit the ground running. Because at the moment...
I think we need to ring Vagan up.
At the moment, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But the thing is, and at the moment, Southend aren't letting anyone out on loan.
Yeah.
No.
Well, I'm in regular dialogue with Craig Fagan, and they're not letting anyone out on loan at the moment because they may
The
be
Barrett
needing.
one really winds me up. This winds me up. Why get rid of a geezer? People say, oh, yeah, he hasn't proven. Listen, he was injured for, a year and a half? We've paid him, stuck by him, and then we've gone, you know what, see you later. We signed him for a reason. We signed him, was in League? I can't think if it was in League One. It was in League One, wasn't we? Yeah. We signed him when we was in League One. There was a reason why we signed him, because we thought he could come on to do bigger and better things. We stuck by him, got injured, and then we released him. All right, he's dropped down to the conference, but he scored, I think, 8 and 10.
Yeah, he's just gone back to Maidenhead where you got him from, hasn't he? Gone back to what he knows.
You know, if they was worried about his fitness, loan him for 3 months. Go get some football. Don't just get rid of him. So we've lost out on money that could have been used elsewhere. Honestly, at the moment, I'm so relieved that I'm involved in football, because if I was able to go regularly, week in, week out, regardless of obviously the COVID situation, I think I would have, I don't know what I've done by now, because my friends who all still go, and you hear them talking and that, and I just think, you sound all broken.
They all come to watch us now instead.
A lot of them are. And that's the thing. We're getting a lot. Our attendances are improving. Not so, maybe a little bit, because of the league we're in, but a lot of that's to do with the local club not doing very well and people getting fed up with the chairman and whatnot. You know, there's a reason for that. And hopefully, you know, Southend turn it round, but I just can't see it happening. And I'm looking at results today. Oldham, who are a couple of points above us, are winning. You know, and Bolton won a. You know, the teams are starting to put away from us already, and it's in the early days, and that's what worries me. Is that it's just
to be relegated by Christmas.
I won't say Christmas. I'll say February if we don't turn it around quick. The thing is, we won one game against Walsall, and I just hope people don't get carried away with it. You know, you look at it, we have had a massive stroke of luck with the penalty, and luckily we've gone down the other end and got 3 points, but that's a massive let off. People will go, oh yeah, but we conceded the last kick of the game against Exeter. But them teams are the reason why you are where you are, because you can't see out them, you know, the final few minutes when you're winning at home, and that's the sign of a team for me that, you know, are destined for relegation. Which pains me to say it. It really does, but I just can't. I can't see any other way than that, if I'm honest.
No, I can't see it being turned around. I don't think Molesley's the problem at all.
No,
I think he hasn't got a team to work
He's not.
with.
When we went to the training ground and played him in pre-season. He was brilliant. Wasn't he, James? Yeah. Everything about him, the way he spoke, the way he was with us, the way he was with the players, you could see that if he gets given the right tools, he'll do a good job. But it's 100%. Like asking a carpenter to build you a bench, but not giving him a saw. Yeah. Like, how can he do it? Yeah. He can't do it. He can't deliver what you want from him if he's not got the tools to do it. And when you've got a transfer embargo and you can't register players, and he bought Akinola in, you paid money for him as well, didn't you? Didn't you buy him?
I'm not too sure. I won't. You know, a lot of people think he's going to be the answer, but
he might not be. But how do you know if you don't register him?
Exactly.
But yet you're registered Emil Aqua, who's a free agent that you had on trial with you for 6 months.
I don't know if it comes down to ages.
Maybe.
I'm not too sure. I don't know if it might be. I'm sure if
under 21s. Yeah, it might be
something along them lines. But listen, it's a lot of people will be pointing the finger at Moseley because of obviously the results. It's a results business, but like you just said, you can't expect him to do what people thought he was going to come in and change it overnight.
Ain't happening. That's a long-term project.
Sometimes. I'm sure. Don't quote me on it, but I'm sure when Bristol Rovers got relegated out of the league, the manager that was in charge was the one that then took them up back to back in the following 2 years. At Darryl Clark, I'm sure it was him. I might be wrong, but the answer isn't getting rid of a manager. People might be like, "Oh yeah, but we've won one game in blah blah blah." No, you need to give him time. Like you said, he can't bring in his own players. He's basically been given this shit out, and he's just sort of got to go with it. Mm-hmm. So. They hope they stick with him.
Let's put it this way. You can't get any worse.
Well, no, he's the last 2 seasons. We can't get any worse in terms of our league position. We can't. The manager's won the last 2 leagues or like promotion.
Promotion,
so he's a winner. He's a winner. He knows how to win leagues. people going, he's not got football league experience. Well, he needs it. You got to give, sometimes you've got to take a punt on someone.
Mm-hmm.
So I just hope that they don't get to like Christmas, for example, and panic. Because then who are you going to get in then?
Me.
A dinosaur? Listen, I would do the job for free. I would say,
same.
Look, give us a bonus if we stay up, because I'll be that confident. The passion, just from me alone, obviously being a Southampton fan, I know you've obviously a bit of a part-time one because of me, but I generally believe that I just think that there could be something that we could do, but it just pains me to see it. I see on Twitter today someone put it up and I watched it, Ollie, the Southampton QPR game when we won 5-0. Someone put it on Twitter.
Kevin Mayer scored twice, didn't
he? Yeah, and I watched it. I flipped through it and I was looking at it going, oh my God, look at it. I'd die for them players right now. And you think, and you look at them and you should never get carried away with. We had an incredible couple of years there, didn't we? With the promotions, the cup finals, the Man United, and then the playoffs again. We had I think 5 or 6 years when we was right in amongst it. As a fan, you always had something riding on it, and I think looking back now, we took it for granted a little bit because we thought we was going to be, in the Premier League within so long. But it's a sad, hard time to be a Southampton fan, and I think fans need to realise, as you said, you're no bigger than the league, and if you're going to fall out of it just because you've been in the Championship, that means fuck all now, and it looks like that's going to be the case.
Yeah, you look at Notts County struggling to get out of it.
Yeah.
We're not too big for non-league.
No, exactly, and I think that people need to realise that we're not a big club. We've got a massive catchment area with support, but we're not a massive club. We're a little fish in the pond, and I think I always say, and people have said it, fans have said it. Vocally, as a group of fans and supporters, I'd say we're one of the best. I've been to up north, like Crewe on a Tuesday night, and there's like 300 of you sing your heart out, and you're getting clapped by their own fans as you leave because they can see you've supported your team and you've gave it a good going at. But yeah, it's a bad time at the moment, and it drains me. Honestly, it's so soul destroying. Just running in, like the first thing I do when the game's finished at Hullbridge is like after our team talk, bang, I'm running to my phone to see the result, and it's like, oh, another L, and it is horrible, absolutely horrible at the moment.
Yeah.
Anyway,
well, we're coming to the coming to the end.
Yeah.
We're coming to the end. Just got a couple of quickfire questions what we got on Twitter this week. So one of them's from Rectory, Rovers, the football team, Sunday League team, and they would like to ask about both your rises through the pyramid to become managers. Just quick fire. Like, where did you start? How long did it take you to get to Hullbridge?
So I started off managing Herongate Athletic on a Sunday, and James played for me. Obviously, me and James have been best mates since we was about 5, something ridiculous like that. So we started there, and then a good friend from school, Rob Hodgson, got the Hullbridge job and asked us to come in as reserve team managers. And unfortunately, James couldn't really commit to it because of work.
Yeah.
So I did that, done a season doing the reserves, and then I moved into Rob's backroom team in the first team at Hullbridge. And then from there, I went to Grays Athletic. Jamie Stewart gave me a call there, which was a bit surreal for me because growing up, I went to watch Grays week in, week out, home and away, up and down the country. And Jamie was obviously the captain and he's a massive legend of that club. So to get a call from him asking me to go in and work with him was very surreal, and I jumped at the chance. So I went to Grays, was there about a year, and then Rob decided to step away from Hullbridge because they wasn't having the best of times. They was really struggling in the league, and he felt it was time for him to move on after doing a good job there. So then I went back there. So that was 3 years ago the other day, and straight away as soon as I got the chance to go back there, I rang James and brought James in, and the rest is history, as they say.
Awesome. Yeah, and there was another comment or question from, I'm going to apologise for him now because I couldn't pronounce his surname, Lee Scalfield.
James, you can answer this one.
If you could sign any player from your division, who would you sign?
It's a sticky one.
Hang on, Darren. Don't think you're getting away with this one as well because you're answering
It's a
it as well.
sticky one.
Can I add a rule?
It's a very sticky one because obviously you're saying a player. It looks
Yeah.
like you want. Who would I want? Quite. Listen, there's some very, very good players in this league. One of them I would have said who's now gone, but I'm going to go for after what I said about Jordan Henderson earlier on about he does.
I know what you're going to say
the stuff that. Yeah, because of what this guy does, for me he's the Jordan Henderson of our league, and it would be Aveley's skipper, Mr. Weatherspoon. What he does, is literally the same as Hendo. So
I used to work with him, James, so he's going to get such a big head now listening to this. I used to work with him, so he's going to get a big head.
I know. But he's a good player, and he's a nice geezer as well, to be fair to him.
Yeah, next question.
He would be my...
Right. This is going to be a question from me.
That's fine. I'm not answering that one, so next question.
All right.
Whoa. Don't leave me in the lurch here. Darren, mate.
All right. It's a tough one. And there's someone that keeps coming in my head, but I really don't want to say their name because they'll get even bigger, even more big-headed, but probably Matt Price.
Oh, I knew you was going to say him.
Striker who's at Coggeshall now. Like, me and him are very close, so it really pains me to give him praise. But wherever that guy goes, he scores goals. And his record at this level is second to none. He works extremely hard and he's a top player, but it'd be him or Ross Wall at Coggeshall. It'd be one of them two as a forward because I like to score goals and stuff. And James went with his conservative midfield player, so I'll go with a striker. It'd probably be Pricey or Ross Wall, to be fair.
Awesome. So yeah, this is to Lee.
And just so Lee knows, we can't afford any of them three, mate. So don't put your hopes up.
Yeah,
we're pissing into the wind if you think we're gonna have a go.
Lee, drop us a message on Twitter if you agree with that one, please, mate. And if you want someone else, we'll.
Can you ask for Lee's opinion? I want to know who Lee thinks we should sign.
Yeah, Lee, drop us a tweet and see what your opinion is, and see if these two can get them in for you.
Lee'll just want a new pair of trainers to run around and get them balls for us. Lee's the best ball boy in the Isthmian League. Legend of a man. Absolute legend of a man.
All right. Yeah, I'll save my questions for you two next time we get you on the podcast.
No, quickly, come on. We're in now.
All right. So quickly, how do you two switch from your day jobs to being football managers? Like, is it an easy transition or?
We don't. I'm on the phone to him 24/7. So even at work, my phone is on the go, like in my ear roll.
It's like me and James have got a bit of a ritual where I drive to work. So 8 o'clock every morning, we have a phone call. And,
so you're always football managers. The day jobs just
always football. Mate, football's not. It's not a job. It's just a way of life. If that makes sense. Yeah. You don't turn on from it, switch off from it. You're always thinking. So if you get home on a Tuesday night at 11 o'clock.
Yeah,
you ain't sleeping till gone 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. That's a fact. No matter if you've won or lost, you're either on a massive high or you're wanting to beat yourself up. It's not a case of turn it on and turn it off. It is literally non-stop. Like since we've been talking, I've had 3 messages from different players that play for us.
Wow.
It's just how it is. It's just a non-stop conveyor belt of discussions. And especially when me and James are so ambitious, we're always talking about how we can improve ourselves. That's the main topic of conversation is what have we done? Can we do it better? How do we move forward? So it's not a case of switching on and off. It's a case of fitting it into your it's just a way of life.
Awesome. Yeah, that answers my question a lot better than I was expecting. Right, I think that's it then, Ollie, isn't it?
Yeah, we'll wrap that up. I'd like to thank the pair of you for coming on. So
anytime, man.
Of the show. I think we started off well, with 2 people with no football and
as well. Steady. A lot of people might argue that. There's been some tweets flying around that we've seen that would question that's for sure. But hey, that's football. It's always a game of opinions, and
the haters are out there.
No, look, you know what? Sometimes the haters, some might take it personally, but for me, it just thrives me to do better, and in a way, stick 2 fingers up at them and go, well. Look where we are. Thank you very much. See you later. But listen, that's the love of non-league football in the Twitter. In the Twitter field, it is just ruthless, as we've found out many occasions.
Well, I look forward to coming down to Hullbridge and coming to meet you guys in person.
That'll be good to see you.
Once we can. And hopefully, when you two get the time, we can get you back on the podcast and have a bit of a catch up.
You might have to wait a while if you want to meet me, though, Will, because I'm still banned. So don't go too soon.
It's all right. We'll meet outside the ground. I'm sure you'll be on the phone talking to someone in the ground. But yeah,
cheers guys for coming on.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Just want to quickly plug our next episode. We're doing a midweek one, which is going to be called the Opening 45 Extra Show. It's a 10-minute short with our friend of the show, Rich Smith. It's slightly different format to this one, which is going head-to-head, predicting scores from the up-and-coming weekend, and that will be out on Thursday. If you like this episode, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And if you're listening to this on any of your streaming sites, make sure you share that, recommend a friend, because that really helps us out, and drop a review, which would be great for us. And until next time, this has been the Opening 45, and we'll see you next week.
have a good weekend, guys.
See you later. Thanks for having us on.
See you later. Take care.
That's one. He just went. There you go.
He don't muck around. He's gone.
He don't.